Tim Collins with Coming It Down back at Stony Lonesome. We're in the middle of the mud run. After about 4K, people are getting a super challenge here. They have to cross Lake Stony on foot on these buoys. Now, those two participants are the two best I've seen so far. Most people are just going straight into the water. Good group here. And you got to realize that these folks have been, I guess they're about 4K into the race. Many of the 1 mile participants have already passed through. This course just goes on forever. Very nicely laid out. I don't know how long it took Tyler Lindsay and his staff to put up this yellow caution tape, but it goes on for miles and miles on both sides. Very well defined. And our next group still out on the course. But that's what they face when they get here. They run through all sorts of obstacles, coming in, some of them fairly muddy, others caked with mud. And it seems simple. You just kind of walk across these buoys, but it's not simple at all. Last year I had one lady who fell in and had a tough time, but she's fine and back at it this year. You can see in the distance, I just barely see a red shirt. Now that person and that group is another obstacle, maybe 300 feet away, a little longer. It's giant tires like off of Caterpillars and semi-trailers. They're the 3-4 foot tires. And even if you're just starting fresh, that would not be a particularly difficult thing. But when you get this deep into the race, some people just flat struggle. I remember last year we had to literally physically pull a person out of the donut hole. They just couldn't go, fell in it, and couldn't get out. Haven't heard that happening this year. I don't expect it will, but you just never know. It's a super challenging course. I was expecting our first big group to come through at any moment because the folks who came through moments ago are right past the lead. So usually at this point in the race we have a big group, but everybody's lingering in the background. Now, as you can see in the distance, Stony Lonesome is fully green, and this course is not your average 5K. It goes on and on. There's countless obstacles, strange things happening all around. We've got some well-meaning supporters. They're lining up waiting for their participant to come through. Had several kids in this race. Earlier, they got stuck in the water, and not intentionally, but they liked it so much that they just kept going back over these buoys. We've got a strong Sheriff's Department presence in the background. Up on top of the hill, we've got EMS. That's not going to be needed this year because there's not going to be any heat problems, no exhaustion. And it's really a very festive process. All right, here's a female participant. She's coming back around, going to try the buoys. I think she's probably, I don't know, maybe third or fourth on the list. Okay, she's slowing down. She's going to walk it up, kind of collect her thoughts, catch her breath as she attempts to go across these buoys. She's getting some instructions from a staffer here at Stony Lonesome. I don't think she's ever done this before. She's asking how she does it. That doesn't bode well. Okay, she's staring it down. She's asking, so just run across. Of course, not as easy as it looks at all. She's on the first one. She's thinking about it. So far, she's not dunked in the water. This water is, depending on her height, anywhere from waist to chest deep. Everybody's been in the water except just a handful of experts who have made it through. She's doing quite well. Look at her go. For a first-timer, this is very impressive. Last buoy. Now down she goes. How'd that go for you? She didn't like her performance. I did. I've been watching this for 10 minutes down here. All right, we should have the big group I was talking about. Usually they arrive about this time. I see Jeremy Simmons has joined this live presentation. I'm surprised he's not out here. He's extremely physically fit, member of Logan Fire and Rescue. Usually he's in the middle of these hardcore athletic events like this. All right. The course is very slow today. What I mean by that is the overnight rains, the soil and red mud, I think it's slowing everybody up. I see a group in the distance, but it's got to slow down times. I mean, I've been walking around and, you know, your feet just literally get stuck in the mud and it's sticky, and you have to be very careful because after you get unstuck, you'll slide and won't show you my pants, but I'm muddy as can be and I haven't ran a foot. I'm just trying to get around here. All right, here comes a group. They're making their way. You can't really see it in the distance too well, but here's our first big group coming in. They're trying to tackle those giant tires, so we'll have looks like a fairly large group coming in here in just a minute. As I mentioned in our earlier video with the start, Doug Davenport has really gotten better with his drone. He's out here buzzing around, taking it in close, so I'm anxious to see some of the footage. He comes in with his drone, and no telling where he's at now. I think he's on the back end of the course, probably with the big group. Yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 10, 12 people, so you'll get a full experience of the good and the bad and the ugly going across these buoys here in just a minute. Now, our person here in the black, moving slowly, looks a little fatigued, understandably so. Pretty much walking. And then we've got somebody coming up behind in a tan shirt and some red runners. They look pretty brisk, like no problem. As far as fitness, they're just ready to go. All right, let's take a position down here in the buoys and see how these folks go with this. She looks wiry and flexible. I bet she'll do well. Yeah, look at her. Just like a gazelle. Gentle, light-footed. Yeah, the key is being light, if that makes sense, going across these buoys. If you hit them hard, you're going in the water. Very well done. I don't think anybody can standing broad jump the 15, 16 feet from the first buoy to where I'm standing. But if you can get to the end without going in, you're doing well. Oh. I've got to tell you, I started this filming a little late because our first group had a heck of a time. These people who are coming through now are just going across this like experts. It's very impressive. Well, and the great thing about this is you have 1K left after you come through here. If you do end up in the water, you can get most of the mud and grime cleared off. Of course, you'll freeze for the next 5 to 10 minutes so you warm back up because the water is very cold. This guy's serious. Return of the mud people. Okay. We have a heavy foot here. He's slamming it pretty hard. Not bad. Now she's taking the butt approach. I've had a handful of people not go up. They try to do it on their rear end and their thighs. And you're penalized when you switch techniques mid-buoy like that. Now, those of you who are watching, you realize all these people paid money to do this. It's not cold, but we've got a wind picking up. He's happy. He's glad he paid money. Coming out of the weeds there. And this guy looks like a real athlete here. He's got some muscles. Look at him. Oh, he's got good balance. It's not light-footed. It's just a pure power walk across the buoys. Good job. Okay, now this is a new technique. This is the crawl technique. She's on all fours. I think this is a very smart way to do it. It's hard to mess up when you're all fours. It's slower. It's going to hurt your time, but she's doing great. She's complaining of knee pain. We have people screaming at her to run. She's not going to do it, I don't think. Okay, it's a bunch of crawlers. Okay, it's the crawlers from Hansville is what it is. Well, she made that look easy, didn't she? The crawlers are making this look like child's play. They're losing time because they're going across very slow, but nobody's ending up with a face full of mud out in the middle. Breathing heavy, but he's fine. Here's a young lady, very smooth, plugging Serta mattresses. And that looks like it for the first group to come through. If we get a big, huge group like we had last year, it gets really intense, and 20 people are trying to cross Lake Stony at the same time, and that turns into a mess. But I think with the mud this year, everybody's going to be spread out. Times are a little slower. So that's it from Lake Stony. We're going to move now to the finish line. If I can get there without disappearing into red mud quicksand.